It's never something fun.
No,
I just want like the people who robbed the Louvre or whatever, you know? They all just use this. People that robbed the Louvre in France.
Maybe like
Le Louvre.
like Siri kind of thing. Speaker for Siri.
I think we'll have you guys go first,
Okay. Super cool.
and that way.
This is great, man.
Oh,
I was in here
thank you.
earlier. It was really
Yeah.
cool.
Thank
Really
you.
great.
Yeah.
Good job with everything, man.
Thank you. Yeah. Also, if you want, everything on these shelves is free. The shelves on the right, and we have a lot of popcorn buckets from Wicked. If you know anybody who likes Wicked. Here, I'm gonna give one of you.
Oh, because he said we were going first. Do you want? I don't care either way.
I just had it set up differently in
Oh,
the
sorry.
slideshow.
Either way.
Okay, well then let's do it the other way.
Either way.
Now that I know the secret.
Sorry, I was just thinking that if they go first, then we can move the monitor out of the way.
Yeah,
It's a
that's
little bit in the way.
Well, we can move it out of the way right now.
Oh, it's fine.
I can do that. I just needed to switch.
Sorry.
this
Yeah,
Don't worry
sorry.
about it. No, just leave it as it is.
Yeah, I'm already on it.
No,
Where's the slides? You should be able to. Oh, you're not much on the slides. Even if someone's presenting, you can't change the
Like on one hand I want to go like quickly
The only thing
get
I'd like to
Cabo or
see
something,
is
but on the other hand I don't want to miss the presentation. So you know.
some way to speed it up at the end. Maybe can you?
I can speed up.
Can you make?
And the
Oh,
other
it's
one's on the thing.
Oh no, I was right.
All two.
Or is
I
it
can
broken?
speed up the whole thing too.
Well, no, I was just thinking at the end when it's like 10
And it's on just a little bit. It's fine.
Yeah.
Close enough.
Yeah, it's all broken.
The problem would be is if you're in the corner of the screen and the pixel is here.
No.
Yeah, it's also all random, so it could happen.
It could actually happen, yes. Well, yeah.
that's now solid.
Check, check. We're working. We're working.
It would help if I knew what any of the buttons did. But that's okay. Yeah, I don't really know how to do it. Sad.
It does say link on the button.
Yeah. But they also like link to each
This
other or they link
character
to
you're
Bluetooth.
developing, what can you tell me about their personality, or are you not making a personality for them? Or?
That's just kind of like the vision I had. She's sort of supposed to be like me if I was a teacher.
Ah, I see.
So like, there's a few different.
Yes. We friggin' did it.
And she lives in this tree, just like hollow one is.
All right.
Spiral staircase leading up this room.
Okay. We did it. We win.
Kind of like.
Ta-ta. Okay.
Alrighty, we ready?
Yeah, we can give this to one. Well, I'll give it to them.
Are we actually rolling?
Yeah.
Live?
Yeah,
Live?
we're live. Everything's
Okay.
good. Hey everyone. We're gonna start.
Well, hello. Hello. Hi. Welcome into social media. How many of you it is your first time in the space? Okay, we got a couple newbies. First time at show and tell.
Woo!
Can I raise my hand since technically I'm now
Well, we do this once a month. It's usually the third Saturday of every month. Although next month is going to be the second Saturday, we are moving it up for a special cyberpunk edition of show and tell. So, but normally we are on the third Saturday of every month. And I'm glad that you're here tonight with us. I am sorry if I'm a little space cadet. The meds have worn off and I am not braining. We have a short little show for you tonight. Some really cool, awesome people. Hi, I am Sam. I am the events coordinator here at Social Medium. And I will be down here taking some B-roll content for the social medias, for our Instagram, our TikTok, such like that. We are being streamed live on YouTube and Instagram.
Yeah, we're really fancy.
All right. So hi all online viewers. We're glad you're here as well. So without too much rambling, we're gonna go ahead and get into our first presenter. Our first presenters came into the space a few weeks ago and brought a really cool project that they were working on in. It is Lewis and Kenny Wakeland. It's a father and son team who have developed a really cool product called Puckit. So we're gonna have them come in and talk about that.
You described us once as a father and son duo, and that sounds much better.
Oh, Kenny.
We want to be a duo.
You want to try to stand on that side?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
The light.
Ah. So, okay.
Oh, I think you're in the way of the. There we go.
So, Puckit. What is Puckit? Well, so 3 years ago, we went to the Cow Palace, which is where Open Sauce was that year. That was the first year we went, and we saw lots of neat people that we like to talk to. This is from the BattleBots robots, which is one of our favorite things. And we wanted to go for 2 days, but it was expensive. And then we heard about this other program that was earlier in the week, and it was really expensive. And then we talked to these people, and they said, oh, that's easy. You just put together a booth, and you're in for free. We can do that. So we did that. And we had been, hand me one of them. We had been playing with, no, hand me the colorful one. We'd been playing with these ideas for quite a while, and finally we decided, okay, we'll do it to get free tickets. So that's the goal. And we figured we would save about $1,300. Yeah, we were very generous. But to date, it's only cost us, is my wife listening? No, good. Okay, so the idea is a Puckett it's a shuffleboard Puckett that talks to other shuffleboard Puckets, that keeps track of its scores. It has lots of fancy lights. You can tell when it's shaking. You can tell they talk to each other. These are all the different features that are in there from a kind of a hardware standpoint. So we first went to our favorite source. Anybody know the term Adafruit? Yeah, that's Adafruit's boards, and built the first prototype of this. And we got a little ways in that and decided, yeah, it'll work. So we did some design work and laid out a schematic, and then laid out the printed circuit boards. They're up here. You can see them later if you want. Actually.
You can pass that around.
You can pass that around. That's the circuit board that's in there. So we sent that off to China to and got them back and troubleshot them, because they would work for a little while and then they would stop. And this is what's underneath, by the way. There is a speaker, there's a haptic sensor motor, and a big battery under there that charges them all. And so we got accepted. We got accepted, and this is us at the show at the last 2025 Open Sauce, showing these off. And
Yeah.
that's, yeah. I'm just trying to see what else we're supposed to talk about. Anyway, so best thing about Open Sauce is exhibiting, because you get to spend Thursday and Friday beforehand just walking through this show as everybody's putting everything together, and everybody's just willing to talk and just have a great time. The party is okay, but it's just it's 2 hours. Well, the thing I would love at the party, if anybody of you have been to the party, you walk around and there are all the booths, but all the people that would tell you what they're doing aren't there. They're out partying. But if you're there on Thursday or Friday, you get to talk to all these people.
And it's not crowded.
And it's not crowded, and it's really nice.
You get tossed for 30 minutes. It was a lot of fun
Yeah.
at that time. So then the other stuff was.
Well, so we ended up on, oh shoot, what's his name? Got it written down even, because I always forget names. I did.
All right, let's go.
Anyway, we ended up on that. The great part about this, by the way, is this picture got sent to me by my boss. Okay? I didn't see it. My boss saw it and sent it to me. That's really good. And I probably should be talking into these things instead. But if you look at the originals, which are here, they have the flashing lights, but they're flashy lights. Now we have the flashy lights. To do this, we added 3 rows of LEDs around the outside. These are all addressable and programmable. We have on the order of 150 some odd LEDs packed in here. We sent this off. I designed a replacement board for it, which is this. This afternoon, I got notification that the boards for these are the LEDs that will wrap around it, just like
For
this one
V2
does
or
for version 1.5.
Yeah.
They are supposed to arrive at my house on Monday. Yeah, that's when they said it was done. Okay, so what's in here? By the way, if there are questions, just ask. There is an ESP32 S3. There is a driver for the audio. There is a driver for the haptic sensor in here. There's supposed to be a regulator that turns off the 5 volts when we go into low power mode. If you look at any of the boards, you'll see a big black wire on the board. That's where it didn't work exactly right. Which is, oh, it's not on there. Anyway, so there's that. Most of it originally was copied, borrowed from Adafruit's designs, which does have some issues if you do it ever. Basically, that their parts list is not compatible with the stuff I was using. I do all my work now in Fusion 360 because that's what I kind of needed to, felt comfortable in. Because I do, well, I learned Fusion, schematic capture, PWB design, mechanical design. I have to tell you, I have done these things in the past for employment, but I haven't done them for employment in 20 years. So it was kind of a big refresher course. Yeah, I'm old. Then, you know, in order to get the get accepted, we needed a website. So both of us have set up simple websites, but this is now a official commercial website. It's at wakelandlabs.com. Then ESP32 setup, Platform IO, dealing with overseas vendors. Just make sure your parts list is bulletproof. They were really patient though. So you want to tell them about the software and the magic? Because by the way, the hardware for the most part is my responsibility, and he does all the cool stuff.
So yeah, so the software on these pugs have to have real-time haptics and feedbacks.
Oh, come over here.
Yes. So yeah, so the pugs communicate between each other using ESP now, which is a very low latency protocol. So it just makes sure that we have like within milliseconds response times. That allows us to even have synchronization between the animation between the two or tap transfers. But it also comes with the downside is because we're streaming data, we are actually losing a lot of packets and a lot of other stuff. So we have to have a lot of we also had to build our whole own protocol on top of that to be able to communicate to multiple pugs. Because ESP now is only meant to communicate to about 6 devices simultaneously. But we have about more than 6, even including our clock over here. So we just had to fully design that. The other things is that I was going to send my dad a meme about the QR breaker, but I was so disappointed at nighttime that it did not exist, so I had to actually create a new one in about 2 in the morning. So yes, the world now really has a QR breaker.
Yes.
Yes. Then the other challenge is that there is actually a mobile app that will be able to control and configure all these things, which was another protocol because using Flutter, it was a higher level language. So using a lower level stuff, very precisely bit manipulation, allowed us 2001.
Hmm?
Oh, yeah, that's the right one. allowed us to actually communicate to each puck and then configure them all out. Because some of the accelerometers on the pucks are actually not good. So, like one of the other, there's even accelerometers actually have a history of dying and not being living very well to high impacts or crashes between each other. So there would have to be a whole nother step about just checking if the accelerometer is alive on them, because we have a limited run, so we have to use every single board that we had.
Yep. By the way, the intention is that you put these on the shuffleboard table. You slide them down the table. They hit each other. They transfer energy, which becomes part of the score, and then you can display the score in either the fancy modes or just in the colored lights on the pucks themselves. Our eventual goal is to take 6 to 8 of these into a local establishment that sells alcoholic beverages and has shuffleboard tables, and just be able to set them on the table and play shuffleboard with it.
And need to auto score on top of that. So,
Yeah.
which is a whole nother challenge, is that we're not using overhead cameras. We're not doing other type of technology. It's like we're hopefully going to use under sensors, optical sensors, line sensors, detect when we hit the lines of the shuffleboard, and then using accelerometers to tell which line is which, and better to also filter out the numbers on top of that.
Yeah.
With like 4 or 5 sensors.
Yeah. We also, I mean, if you fall off the table, we know what that is. By the way, one thing, if you're ever building something like this, try and remember to put an on-off switch on it somewhere. What we ended up doing is basically, if you set these upside down, they will go to sleep, and that's about the best we can save the batteries. So, yeah, just try and remember to put an on-off switch somewhere in there. Yes?
I don't know a lot about shuffleboard. It's the one where you have to get it into the certain lines for
Yes.
lots of points or just a little points.
Yes.
You can't go off. You try to knock the ones off. It's like the one where they're sweeping in the Winter Olympics, but on a small table.
Yes.
So having all of this fancy like scorekeeping and lights, does it enable you, or have you considered like other types of games of shuffleboard that wouldn't be even possible
Are-
to do
well-
with regular pucks, but are now enabled by this?
Okay, so first of all, the one thing that's not possible at this time is the thing you just described. We actually are not able at this point to tell where on the board these pucks are. That's a problem. We can tell that the blue team hit the red team. We can tell you how hard they hit them. We can tell you if they knocked them off the board. We can tell you, how many hits the blue team has had, how many hits the red team has had. One of those things is keeping track of that score, I think, right now. But because we don't have sensors underneath here, we actually don't know where on the shuffleboard table they are.
But we could add more game elements on top of a traditional shuffleboard, like the hits or impacts or who you tapped to do that. Or we can add more comedic effects so it can cry or complain to you when you hit it too hard.
Yeah, we literally have not touched the gameplay aspect of these things. Aside from to know that the one obvious one we can't do.
If
And
you want it to be easy to just put on any shuffle table, that's your doctrine from the beginning.
the minute we put a camera pointing at the table, all these problems are solved.
Right. It would be easy enough, but you want it to be able to sell it to anybody who has a shuffle table.
Or walk into an establishment that doesn't know who the hell we are and not upset them.
It's way more valuable the way that you're doing
Yeah. By the way, these things make. I have a picture somewhere. Another play element for these. These are great to give to your 4-year-olds to play with. They just love them. Also, this one right now, if
There's haptic feedback.
there's haptic feedback, so you can. It's pinging me to say, "Oh, you're swinging it back and forth."
Does it vibrate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to work that into the gameplay as well.
Yeah. Just shake it from side to side.
Oh yeah.
Anybody else?
So, but in the next version of the thing was we had a lot of R&D to find the perfect diffusion material out there. And we
Yes.
tried a lot of materials, a lot of different ways, because we have very like 4 millimeters of spacing what we want to use. So we can't do distance, we can't do side emitting. So we finally decided on was using glow in dark filament because it really helped with the dispersion of light.
Yeah.
That was the
It doesn't
main.
glow,
It's
but it disperses the light
Light.
really well.
And so this unit right here is actually our test rig to better determine how far away can we get away with what type of material. So we could just change up the
and
screen.
if you have LEDs and then you have a diffuser, the further away from the LEDs the diffuser is, the more diffuse it is. But if you look in here, between those LEDs and the inside of the surface, there's not a lot of space.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Have you tested like the slide ability of your pucks yet? Like 'cause
Over and over and over.
with sand and stuff like that, 'cause I know, or like would yours work without the sand, like the sand?
They will work to some extent without the sand. Yeah, that's a secret, by the way. And by the way, it's not sand. That you'll find out about shuffleboard tables is they put little glass beads on the tables. And it makes things like these slide really fast. Really fast.
That's if you want to be really good, you just put sand in the front half and wipe off all the sand. And then you can go really hard.
Now, the one thing to say about that is if you take a shuffleboard table to open sauce and you put sand on it, when it comes time to clean up your space, have a plan for how you're getting rid of the sand. Yeah, no, they're really good for that. They have been, all of these that are here and running now were at open sauce and have been slammed up against the walls and everything else for 2 solid days. So, and they all still work.
Yeah, and
So.
these are the actually official shuffleboard ones. So we
So that you yeah, let me see one of those. You'll see. We're trying to make these as small as we can to kind of match with these. By the way, one of the other things that was on the table, and I don't know where it went, but that we have to learn yet is if you go into the bottom of these, there are 4 little pockets down here that are empty. That's where the lead weights are going to go. So one of the things I have to learn to do yet is cast lead. This whole thing has been an experience in learning new things. So it's awesome for that.
Lead BBs are a good way to do it too.
No, because yes, I did that first, but Kenny will tell you what the formula is. The empty space around the BBs is a lot of empty space. I got the very smallest bird. No, it's not even bird shot. It's shot they use to adjust the weights on model airplanes. Little tiny lead shot, so that I could get that space as small as I could, and it still wastes a lot of space. So.
Brian, did you have a question?
You answered it.
Right.
It was about the size comparison between the official pucks and
yeah.
Yeah.
how you're going to get the weight.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to get so.
This is how a real one feels.
Another thing you should remember is if you're putting an ESP32 in a package, which has Bluetooth and Wi-Fi in it, by the way, and the ESP Now. ESP Now communicates to the pucks. Bluetooth communicates to the computers and everything else. But if you're going to do all that, you can't make the outside of the case metal. So that's why it's plastic. So we can't make the case metal. But to date, again, these were slammed around for 2 days and none of them broke. So any other questions?
You could use that old Bakelite plastic. It's like heavier and I think more brittle, like
Yeah.
less malleable, but also hard to break.
Yeah, I've worked a lot with that in the old times. Yeah, in the old days,
I
yes.
know a guy who reinvented the formula in his garage.
Really?
Bakelite, yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. So that's Puckett, and that's what we're working on. Yes.
I might have missed it, but did you share
like where the idea came from? I know you went to the place and you wanted to make a table, but where did do
That was because of another thing I can't do yet. I have this vision of taking a large tub full of ping pong balls, okay, pouring it out onto a table, and then with my laptop or something, telling it to draw me a picture of Abraham Lincoln. And the ping pong balls know where they are relative to each other, and they know what color to make them to make a picture of Abraham Lincoln. Now, the first problem is ping pong balls are round, so you don't know where up is, so it's really hard to know what orientation everything is in. You may notice these have lights in them. They know what orientation they are, and we're working on how they know where they are, but they're not round. That's where that was the original thing, was that. And so we started from that.
But you could do billiard balls too.
Uh,
Yeah.
air hockey. I was thinking it would be a cool like air hockey puck. A very heavy air hockey puck. We don't know. I will tell you, I'm not sure. I suspect an air hockey puck is even faster than the shuffleboard puck. Yeah.
And then I'm afraid of these breaking. So.
Find out what they're putting in the NFL helmets. Because they've got
Oh, yeah, that's
all the
the
same
same
stuff you do, but they hit them, with the force of a 300-pound linebacker.
Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway.
Any other questions? Oh, if people want to find out more about this, where's the best?
Wakelandlabs.com. I'm lewis.wakeland@gmail.com. You can just send me questions or whatever. Also, another thing I learned from this project is I now have an Instagram account, Wakeland Labs. Thank you, Sam. So, yeah.
And also, Lewis and Kenny come to Melissa Ray Electronics Club, so if you want to learn how to do stuff like this,
Yeah.
Come hang out at Electronics Club every Thursday at 7, and they bring them in and show us the next versions all the time. So
Yeah.
oh, nice.
Next week I get to show you the
Breaker just finished.
the next well, I don't know about next week, but the week after that I'll bring in the new printed circuit boards, which are the flexible ones. So that's cool.
Yeah, I've been seeing those online.
Are these 3D printed?
Yes. They are 3D printed. Yeah. Where's
And then we can, if you guys are cool with leaving the pucks on the table, then after everybody's done speaking, we'll let everybody walk around and touch things.
Sure.
Can we turn the
Yeah,
monitor?
just turn it sideways. We don't have to move it even. Just
Just
sideways.
turn it sideways so that there we go.
Thank you.
Cool. Awesome. All right. Thank you, Lewis and Kenny. That was awesome. Thank you. All right. We're going to move into a couple of our community presenters are going to come up. Every show and tell, we have members of our social medium family that come up and give small presentations on the things that they've been working on or the things that make them nerd out. So our first community presenter is going to be Clay. They are going to show you a little bit about their art.
Yeah.
It's a little dark in here.
You stand over there. It's like.
Yeah.
Did you need to plug your computer in?
No.
Okay. I will give you the microphone.
If you need your hands, we can put it also.
Yeah, if you need it in your hands, we can.
Hey.
We need that dragon with claws on the ends of the wings.
Yeah.
We have 4 hands.
Okay, wait, let me just dump this out real quick because all the stuff's at the bottom.
Is that what you want?
Well, the tesselation for because it's extra pins.
While Clay's setting up, reminder for upcoming events. Again, we have every week we have different clubs. So Monday is cosplay club. Wednesdays is maker mixers. This week's maker mixer is karaoke. If you want to come do some karaoke, that's this Wednesday. Thursday is electronics club. And then Sundays we now have 2 clubs. We have TTRPG, also known as D&D club, at 4, and then we have Process Art club at 7.
I have a converter.
So that's a lot of fun. And then Maker Melee. Everybody should come to Maker Melee. It's the first weekend of every month, and it's just like a crafting competition show, kind of like Chopped or more like Great British Bake Off. It's fun. It's silly. It's partly about how good you can make stuff, but mostly about how silly you can make stuff. Very high stakes. We've recorded all of them so far. We've edited 2 of them so far. So if you want to see what it looks like, you can check out our YouTube and check those out. Oh, are you looking for an
I
adapter?
found ours. Oh, perfect.
It should be free more.
It's because it's on purpose.
Yeah, we purposely
Yep.
look for when you're not free more.
Literally since the old space, every single time period rolls out in the end of the day.
Yeah, it's because we checked your calendar.
We'll probably do it like every other month.
Every other day. Very
If that doesn't work, I have another adapter, man.
Yay.
I think so.
Oh,
Yep.
It looks like
Yeah.
what's his face? Is that Hank Green's bean thing or it's just? God forbid, I'm sorry. I do have a thing.
All right.
Hey everyone. Okay,
The thing about college students is they always have presentations ready to go.
just on deck, yeah.
Every class.
Every class you will make a presentation. Okay, so
Cool.
I would like to start off by saying that this is not my animation. This is to give you an idea of what will become an animation. This is. Thank you, Ben. Thank you. You know, I get up here, I be brave, and you boo me. Anyways, okay, so this is for 2 classes I'm taking. One is called Production Design for Stop Motion Animation, and the other is Costume Design and Animation. And I have fused the 2 classes to make one big animation project. So here is some reference images of what it might look like. This is my design inspiration. Does anyone know Sumikko Gurashi, the brand? Yeah. It is really cute. The idea is that there's a bunch of like 2-dimensional characters that has like 1 or 2 personality traits, and they're just in different situations. So here you can see them cleaning and also working in a bakery, not related at all, but it's so cute. And then on this other side here is sort of the setting I'm going for. My little animation will be set in a farm. So these are the idea of my characters. After coming up with my characters, this is to give you like an idea of what they will look like, and sort of my own visual research after coming up with some character designs to be like, you know, what have other people done to make fruit look cute? This is my sketches. I was originally gonna go with a more surrealist take on this project. For example, I have What If There Was a Bigfoot? You know, just spitballing ideas at this point. And then on the other side, you can see I've sort of refined the ideas a little bit. I've sort of honed in on the fruit and the idea that each of these fruit will change or modify in some way, have a sense of movement to them. Hello? What? Okay. I don't know what was on this page, but it's probably nothing. Here are some of my character sketches. There wasn't a page there. Anyways, okay. So these are some of my character sketches. You can sort of see my initial ideas, sort of getting a better idea of the character, getting the shape, and then going a little bit deeper into what are their personalities? How do they react in different situations? Yeah, getting a better sense of these creatures that I'm going to be creating. Here are character turnarounds. These were lots of fun. Just to, if you make something in 3D, you have to know what it looks like in 3D. So this was a great exercise figuring out what they looked like, because for this guy, I had him in 3/4 only, and then I realized I had to know what he looked like front on. And I realized that I never wanted to look at him like that again, but he did in fact have to exist in that state. Here are a few animation frames, like sketching out. I've decided very recently that I'm going to be getting a little more cinematic with my shots. This is sort of just a front on single, no camera movement. And I realize that that's very boring, and I would like to make it more interesting, more engaging. So that is the future plan. Here are some character sketches, just to give a sense of space. You drew all that? Yes. Thank you. Here we have my grape. Oh my God, I didn't explain the characters at all. That's fine. I have the grapes. Each of the grapes has a different face on it. And so depending on the emotion of the grape, different grape faces will be facing forward. This is my strawberry. The strawberry sort of just like drops its seeds, like leaves it as it goes places, and then will pick up things in place of the seeds. All unintentionally, it just sort of rolls along, picks things up. And then this is my cherry. They sort of look like it has like, the cherry was bitten, and so you can see the pits, which is what are going to be the eyes, and then the bites are going to sort of act as like eyebrows to give expression to the face. So they're looking in the plot, the planter box, very confused as why there's no seeds in the planter box. Where did they go? Over here is my pomegranate. Nope. Over here is my dragon fruit. The dragon fruit unzips, the leaves unzip, and it sort of acts as like a mobile storage unit. And like that's the extent of it. This is my avocado, who kind of doesn't look like an avocado. I had to do avocado image research because I forgot what an avocado looked like. But the avocado is sort of a trash compactor, just like sort of takes things up, chews them, disposes of them. And then the strawberry in the foreground because he's cute. And then I have my pomegranate, and the pomegranate mom, and a bunch of little pomegranate seed babies. And the pomegranate seeds are sort of like, does anyone, Studio Ghibli, do you know the soot sprites? Mm-hmm. They're kind of just soot sprites where they just wander around and create a little bit of mischief wherever they go. And just so adorable. Here I have, these are ground plans and a isometric drawing to give a better sense of the set that I'm going to be building for it. So you can see I have my plot of land, bench, tree, wheelbarrow, barn, watering can. You have all of the essentials. And here are some orthographic projection drawings of these, because once again, I will need to be making these, and in order to make them, I need to know what they look like from all sides. So this is where some of my theater drafting experience came in handy. So that's sort of the idea, the inspiration, and here, which I will now pass around, they're not finished, so there's still a little bit, they still have like the strings on them. But I would like to show you
If they're too delicate to pass.
They're not delicate. No, they're not. I promise you they're not delicate. But I would like to pass around my creations because they are so cute. Here, I can spread the wealth a little bit. Okay.
Wow.
Actually, you guys can pass it around. You guys got that.
Yeah, we can do that.
The plotter is attached to this, but don't worry about it. You can. So, yes. So the idea behind this is that I'm going to crochet a set.
That's so cool.
Right? I love crochet. I'm quite good at it. The scale is why I'm passing the objects around, Martin. That's why I'm passing the objects around so you can get a sense of the scale.
For like expressions on the crochet characters, what's your plan?
Excellent question.
Are you making like a bunch of the same?
No. So it's sort of creature dependent. For the dragon fruit, he is not changing expression. He will be opening and closing his mouth, which I will use wire to keep its shape, and then he will hinge, which the crochet will hinge on its own. For the strawberry, I'm thinking about felting the eyes. I'm thinking about felting eyes so that way I can just take it off. Because if you don't like felt it all the way into the crochet, just sort of like tack it in place, you can then just like take it off.
Okay, so you're gonna have to like
Yes.
refelt every eye.
Yeah, but like not like refelt. Like I can probably felt the shapes and then
Just like
felt
stick it.
tack it on,
Okay.
take the shot, and then do whatever I need. And then if I need to replace the eyes, I can pull them off, replace them with a pre-felted eye. For the grapes, they will be embroidered and just turned around. Yep. For the pomegranate, because it's like going to actually be filled with the pomegranate seeds, I'm going to have wire around the eye so I can manipulate the eye shape. And that way it can stay in place even when there's no pomegranate seeds inside. And then for the cherry, my thought is also felted, but maybe like having this eye shape, like the bit out section, also be like felt, or I could have multiple crocheted shapes that I could then put on because the whole thing acts as the eye to create expression. I need that to be able to shift. But whatever it is, I know that this center section needs to be, well, actually, I don't know. That could be like those black beads. I could do that, and then maybe I could actually just do wire and move it around and act more as a lid as opposed to being a flat shape. That's a really good idea. Thank you, Jordan. Yeah, that was good.
Any other last questions?
Do you put anything in the, like, is it just the yarn, or is there?
There's polyfill. I put polyfill and I use yarn scraps because I'm economic and environmentally friendly. I use yarn scraps as well to stuff and give them shape.
We have so much yarn, by the way. Let's do it before you leave.
Thank you, I will. Yes?
So, because I saw you crochet the planter, are you gonna crochet all the buildings and stuff?
Yes. The idea with the scenic elements is to use a thicker yarn and a higher gauge, so that way it's quicker to do, and then also has a different sense of scale to the rest of the objects. Because if they all have the same density of crochet, it can sort of blend it and the texture would be a bit similar. So this also gives it a visual distinction, so it's not just all crocheted.
Thank you, Clay. That was awesome. I did not expect them to be so teensy tiny.
For the turnarounds, I did duplicate it, but for the other sketches, I just
Good question.
Yes.
Will there be any potatoes?
No, there are no potatoes. Fortunately, they plant vegetables and they are fruits. So I don't know if that started.
Otherwise, it'd be cannibalism.
Yeah, that'd be weird.
That's where
That's where the line goes. Yeah.
Why no plug-in? Helps if I plug it in all the way. All right, got my computer back. Okay. All right, so that was really fun. Also, yes, we have tons of yarn here. Also, I have a lead on like 4 black and yellows worth of yarn. If you.
Do you really?
Yes. All right. So we have one more community presenter today. And I believe he's also talking about stop motion. So we have a little bit of a theme going tonight. So we're going to go ahead and bring up Martin. We're going to have to stop this.
Hello.
There you go.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so Clay and I are in the same two classes. And originally we were both doing this thing where like we're both going to do the same thing for both classes, and then it'll be like we're doing just one homework for two classes and it'll be a win-win. But I'm a dumb idiot head. It's okay because I'm a dumb idiot head, and I was like, actually, about 7 weeks in, I was like, I actually want to change what I'm doing for one of the classes. So now I am doing two projects because I make really good decisions. But about 7 weeks into class, I emailed my professor and I was like, what if I started this project all over again? I know we've done this for 7 weeks. And he was like, I guess if you really want to, you could, but I don't know why you would do that. And then I said, well, I'm going to. So now I'm doing my production design class on the story of Lavinia Fisher, the urban legend of America's first female serial killer. And so the story goes is that there's this woman named Lavinia Fisher in the 1800s, 1819, who runs this little tavern. And, you know, these people come, this is in Charleston, South Carolina, and people come in and she gives them this oleander tea that makes them very sleepy, and they go off to sleep, and then she pulls this lever and their beds collapse into into pit with spikes. And her husband and her get arrested for murder, and she is the first woman hung for murder in Charleston, South Carolina. And before she goes to the gallows in her wedding dress, because at the time it was illegal to hang a married woman, and so she was like, look, I'm married, you can't kill me. And the judge said, well, we're just gonna hang your husband first, then you're a widow, so that kind of sucks for you. And then, as the story goes, while standing on the platform, she yells out, if anyone has a message for hell, give it to me and I'll carry it there. And then she throws herself off the platform. Now, that being said, mostly all lies. I did some extensive research on Lavinia Fisher. It's actually quite hard to find the truth of the case, but Lavinia was never arrested for murder. She was arrested for robbery, which at the time was punishable by hanging in South Carolina. So she was hung. That part is real, but not for murder. She was arrested for highway robbery, her and her husband. It's actually a very interesting story because the land that their inn was on was land that the governor wanted to turn into a new naval base. And there's a lot of conspiracy around maybe she didn't rob anyone, and maybe the governor was just trying to get rid of them so they could have their land. There was a law in South Carolina at the time where if you left your land unattended for a year, then it goes back to the government. And they were held in jail for exactly 1 year before they were put to death. So there's a lot kind of going on in there. On the jury of their trial was the town's engineer, who was kind of in charge of where the naval base would be. There's a lot of very interesting parts of the case. But yeah, Lavinia probably never killed anyone. There weren't cellars in South Carolina because they were below sea level. So the cellar part is definitely not true. But the urban legend kind of lives on, and it's a very fun one. So my location, there's a band called American Murder Song, and they do music inspired by stories of murder in America. I know, crazy. But they have a song about Lavinia Fisher, and I'm going to be animating a part of the song that takes place in the 6 Mile Inn. I'm hoping to have kind of an outside and an inside look. Here is kind of a mood board for what I'm going for. Very rustic, kind of in the middle of nowhere. I am definitely interested in making lots of barrels and little glass bottles. Here's some key props that I'm going for. I definitely want some circle tables, old wooden chairs. I want to have oleander flowers everywhere because the story is that she would poison people with oleander tea. So I want there to be like little planter plots outside with the flowers, and every table to have, vases with the flowers. And I want, there's going to be a staircase. I want under the staircase a comically large lever that like the husband goes and pulls, and you can see kind of the floor shift. And so here's a current layout for my tavern. Here's an entrance space. I'm actually going to put a band here and have little characters playing the song within the song because I think that'd be really fun. So that's going to go right here. I have a couple tables. This will be the bar where we'll mostly see Lavinia. And then I'm going to have 2 rooms. I have a little dropout situation and the staircase. An idea that I had earlier today that I think I'll run with is what if Lavinia Fisher is behind the bar for most of the song, but then she comes out at one point and she has this like crazy monster, like spider-like situation. She kind of like unfolds from out of the bar. I think that could be cool. Like Coraline, yeah. Coraline did good. And that's my presentation. So that's what I have.
Any questions?
Yeah, Jordan.
Just like from a building perspective.
Yeah.
What's your idea?
Yeah. So my goal is I did some dumpster diving. I found the best piece of wood. Thank you, Clay, for helping me cut that down. And it's about this tall and about this wide. And my goal is to use 8-inch dolls. So make it to scale to that. And I'm hoping, similarly to how I would do a theatrical model, is just have all the walls be able to be taken off so that I could get a camera in there from different angles. I am also going to make a separate facade for the front of the house that's just significantly tinier because, like, why make it very large? Yeah, that's my current plan. The band will be in the tavern. They'll be over here. Yeah, they'll be. It was originally, but then I had the idea of a band and I have not updated that yet. So yeah. Awesome. It'll probably be. I'll probably use the whole piece of wood. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's about 4 feet by 2 feet, give or take. Yeah. Huh? Yeah. Awesome. Yes. Nope. That one. Here you go. That was the next person.
All right. Thank you, Martin. That was really cool. I had not actually heard that story.
Yeah, it's
so
really interesting.
That's
There's
a real.
a really interesting book about it. It's called 6 Mile Inn. So.
That's awesome. I will have to look that up. So we are coming up on our last presenter. It is our second featured presenter. So each of these, we always have 2 featured presenters that come in to tell us about their work. So our second featured presenter is also a stop motion artist. And it is Goblin Girl Studio.
Hi. I feel like I'm kind of a stop motion poser because I'm making all this stuff but I haven't animated any of it. So I'm kind of just calling it stop motion, but maybe not very accurately. But yeah, I am Goblin Girl Studio. I make kind of a little world of stop motion critters and scenes and kind of an interconnected story. So just some examples of my work. I just like making like these little animals and their little homes that they live in. I mean, most of these ones are the ones I brought here that you can see today too. A little bit about me to start out. I grew up loving storytelling, world building books like Dinotopia and like that Gnomes book, which I can never remember the name of those authors, but so good. And loving animation and cosplay, just making things. And I ended up going to school for animation, and I studied I wanted to be a stop motion fabricator, was initially my goal. I studied with Stephen Kyoto, who's amazing.
He's our teacher.
Oh, great! Yeah, I love Stephen. He's so awesome. At school, he just doing a production, like a actual like set production class. That's awesome. But yeah, so I took classes with him. I loved him. And then there was a point where I started to be a little bit wary about the future of the stop motion industry a little bit. And so I pivoted into storyboarding, which is what I do now professionally. If you don't know what storyboarding is, it's like you kind of make almost like a comic book of the animation that you're making. And then you can set that to music and voices and kind of know how the movie's playing before you spend all that money to have people actually animate it. So that's what I've been doing for the past 10 years or so, and it's been great because I've learned so much about visual storytelling, and I've learned about story structure, and there's this phrase in storyboarding and animation that is like story is king, which is kind of a thing propagated by story artists a little bit, but also it just means that like everything you do should go to support that story. The character designs should support the story, the set design should support the story, and so that's something that I've really like taken into my work. Some cons are that you do it 10,000 times and it never ends up in the movie somehow. And so it's just a lot of like doing things over and over again and kind of feeling like there's never anything to actually hold in my hands. Because even if it does end up in the movie, it's not the thing you drew. It's the thing that they animated based off the thing you drew, months and months later. And then also during that time, I kind of stopped crafting as much because I lived in a little one-bedroom apartment. Here's a painting of my little one-bedroom apartment. And you just feel like, oh, where am I going to do this crafting? I guess that side of my life is kind of done. But then I had one of those ideas that just grabs hold of you, and you're like, I'll find a way to make this happen. And it was to make a world building type of book, kind of like Dinotopia or Gnomes, which I loved, but like do that with little woodland critters, kind of like the Beatrix Potter or Brambley Hedge kind of style of world. But instead of that like kind of sickly sweet, everyone is just like perfect and nice and cute, trying to like bring in a little bit more humor into it, like having that kind of like very character-based comedy and just the petty drama between characters, which I thought would be so fun. And then to do that all with stop motion puppets and sets to take photos of those for the illustrations for the book. So look at my notes. And from there, I mean, it's kind of a simple idea, but from there, it was just enough to give me a structure to start coming up with ideas and just start writing down whatever made me laugh and whatever I thought would be fun to do. Like half of my notes are just like, a boat would be cool. Or like, what if there's a miniature set inside the miniature set? Just like whatever just sounded like fun to make or do. From there, I wrote an outline for a book. And even if this book never ever gets made, it has become this really great foundation to build miniatures upon that like come from a storytelling basis. I'm just going to walk through how I do one of these scenes, one of these illustrations. I was going to say, once you have an idea you find a way in your one-bedroom apartment to make the space to make your puppets. So I'm going to walk through how I make one of these characters, starting with this mole, Molten. I just thought, like, it'd be funny if in this world there was a conspiracy theorist. That was kind of the base of the idea. So I was like, I'll take the mole, because I don't know, they're like digging for clues or something. There's only so much you can do to add in that conspiracy element, especially because, oh my gosh, sorry,
You made that picture was something.
Sorry, yeah, there's something that my thing got messed up. It's fine. But anyways, when I'm thinking about like a conspiracy theorist, I don't want I need to know what his conspiracy is. I don't want it to be like QAnon or like flat earthers. Like that's not the vibe. So I was thinking about like where does like the comedy of a character come from? And I think it mostly will come from a character's flaws. And whose flaws do I know? My own, better than anyone. So I was thinking like, what's like some of my conspiracies? And I realized I can tell how someone feels about me just by making it up in my head. That's got to be a conspiracy theory, right? So I kind of started to focus on that, like that all of his conspiracies are just related to like how he perceives how other people are perceiving him in the community. And then I also I also wanted to think about like, okay, that's like the kind of negative. What are like the things that he loves to kind of round this out? And then also what's like maybe a bit of a twist on that conspiracy to kind of flesh that out in a funnier way? And I accomplished both of these with one thing, which was giving him a pet beetle, which is like the one thing in the whole world that he loves. And it's the only thing he doesn't question that loves him back. But of course, this is just a beetle. It is not sentient. It does not care about him at all. All it ever wants to do is escape. So we have our beetle. So then from there, I just sketched out like a rough drawing for his character design. I couldn't make him like tinfoil hat cargo shorts. It's a little too literal, and I wanted this to be very Beatrix Potter whimsical, old-timey world. So I thought of how he would view himself, which I think would be as like kind of a detective uncovering all the truth of this community. So I tried to give him kind of a little bit of a Sherlock Holmes style thing, but very sloppy. You know, he's missed a button, and I thought it could be fun. I could give him like cargo short pockets maybe on his jacket. Of course, he's got to have his fedora. In this drawing, I gave him sunglasses and a joint. I gave up on that later, but you know, just play around as you go. And then from there, I started building him. First with an armature made of wire. I'm surely recognize the technique. Wire wrapped, and then magic sculpture, like epoxy putty for kind of the body blocks. I sculpted some little feet out of Magic Sculpt, and I include screws so I can tie them down. I can like screw them into a set. And then I sculpted his face. I make the heads replaceable so I can give them different expressions, but it takes a lot of time, and I really have only ever made one for most of these. So I just pick an expression I feel like suits them, and for him, anxious was kind of the expression that suited him. I make his body with foam, and I kind of carve it into the shape of what I want his body to be. And then for hands, the hands have a little wire skeleton as well, and then they have kind of these brass tubes that lock into the arm so I can replace the hands, because hands are kind of easy to break, the wire's so thin. And then I build them out with foam, shape them as best as I can, and then latex dip them to give a really skin-like texture. I mean, it's a really easy technique too, because you just dip it in a thing of latex, and now you've got skin on your puppets. Awesome. From there, I painted their head, which I then immediately covered in faux fur. All of this is done with like just individual little tufts of fur being glued on, just piece by piece. And then I used flocking to, which is basically just like microplastics sprinkled on a face, to kind of build out a little bit more subtle of a fur texture until I got this final face here. And then I made his clothing, hard to explain, kind of boring, but I just like, you know, figured out how to do a pattern by just busting my head through a wall and just doing it again and again. And so together to make his little costume with these cute little buttons that I'm obsessed with. And then for his hat, I just took a craft store like little doll hat, and I covered it with the fabric from the costume, and made a hat that kind of matched his outfit. And then I have my finished little mole. So that's all that work. And then you have to make the rest of the image, the rest of the scene. So now I'll talk about a little bit about making the set. And this is where like story really comes in. It becomes so fun. So at first I kind of just did a rough sketch. I figure like, you know, I kind of want to be kind of like a basement dweller kind of guy. So he's a mole. It's perfect. He has his little mole hole he's going to live in. And I thought for lighting, it could be really fun if it's almost like that interrogation light that's shining down as a hole from the top of the hole of the mole hole. And then for the rest of the vibe, have you guys seen that subreddit Male Living Spaces? Where it'll be like, you know, you see a guy's room and it's just like a expensive gaming desk, a camp chair, and then a sleeping bag, and that's like his whole apartment. Like I kind of wanted a little bit of that energy. Oh, and then like, you know, half the furniture is like built from like cinder blocks and stuff. Like really wanted that vibe. So from this like very rough sketch, I then made a mock-up with cardboard just to make sure everything scale-wise all kind of fit. And then I made a actual version with wood of this box. And then from there, filled it with XPS foam, which is like insulation foam, which you can carve with a hot wire knife to kind of give a more organic shape to the inside of this box. Cut out the hole for the top light, which you can't see here, but I just throw a flashlight on top. It's very low tech. Added in some real sticks to kind of give it some real stick energy. And then I use joint compound to kind of make a shell over that XPS foam. and then cover that with dirt, because nothing says dirt like dirt does. And then the most fun part is then you have to come up with a conspiracy. Like, what's the specific conspiracy this guy is investigating? Because if you just have like random images on the wall with string, like it'll convey conspiracy, but not like not that like grounded realism of it. So I thought, what if his beloved pet beetle has been stepped on and broken her leg, and now he must find who has been trying to murder his beloved pet beetle. I should mention that this book I'm writing is about a human who has encountered this village of tiny animals. Who could have stepped on this beetle? I don't know. So, one suspect might be the squirrel Squirrelina, who's always giving him nice gifts and always asking him to go on dates. Very suspicious, weird behavior. Or maybe the mouse, Miss Mouse, who is like his detective assistant, and he's like maybe accidentally eaten her lunch once or twice. She's definitely out to get him. It could be the human who has stumbled upon this village of little animals he's gotten the print of, but like kind of unlikely. It's probably more likely the squirrel. And it was really fun to just like think of what's like that Bigfoot kind of evidence of like really blurry Polaroid pictures of like the, and the cast of the foot. It was super fun. So I had all these different pieces of evidence to put on the wall. And then one thing that was also very fun is thinking about furniture design, because if you look at like this chair on the left, that's really hard to make. And it's really hard to make a miniature and make it look convincing. Like, it would take me the same amount of time it takes me to make this entire set to just make that chair look that good. And it probably still wouldn't look that good. And if you're gonna like go buy already pre-made items, you have to figure out what's the scale. And these guys, their scale is really crazy, because like maybe he would be the right height for a Barbie chair, but his hands are huge and his feet are tiny, and like nothing's actually ever going to fit with any scale I were to go to buy. Like even a cup, like if you're just going to hold a cup, what cup is the right size for his face, but also the right size for his huge hands to hold? Like really complicated if you don't make it yourself. So I needed to think of a style that I could make myself and make everything fit within, but wouldn't kill me to do. So I kind of came up with this version where I'm taking just real sticks I find and finding whatever shape they kind of meld to, and replicating the silhouettes of kind of old-timey Victorian furniture, but with these materials to kind of blend the difference. That was a style I had established for the rest of this world, but for him, it's all made of trash, because he's just like that guy who's got, all of his like crappy furniture he's pulled off the side of the road. So like, I love with this bed how much storytelling I could get into one image, because we have, an old toothbrush and a pencil being used as like the legs of the bed. And then if you look at the pillow and the sheets, they're all super yellow and gross. He's not changed this bed in like months. And then the blanket on top is like his baby blanket with a little beetle on it, because he's loved beetles since he was a little kid. Like, you can put so much story into just one item, and it's so fun. Same thing with like his desk. It's just like trash with pencils and stuff, old cardboard, except for his beetle has a beautiful, pristine little bed that she can sleep on. She has a little hand needle felted stuffed animal. She's got beautiful little water bowls. So, just his priorities are all set. Then you have to make just tons of clutter. So tons of books and scrolls and boxes for all of his files to go in. I thought it'd be fun if one of his like filing cabinets was just like an old pill bottle that he found out in the woods. And of course, like, Ivan Perry Freely, IP Freely, came and got his medicine for this bottle. He's probably got his old underwear like laying out, bottles of piss everywhere. It's just, he's just kind of a messy guy. And then I had to do the very arduous process of trying to figure out how to photograph a scene. That's been my probably biggest hurdle, is learning how to do photography and lighting. So did lots of trial and error to figure that out. And then ultimately I get my one final image of this. So as you can maybe see, that's a lot of work to get 3 pictures out of this, especially because I'm not animating stupidly. And especially after I made my first diorama, which was this one with this bat in her psychic parlor, I really felt like I really felt like it's so much work for people to just scroll past in 3 seconds. It's kind of instant. So I thought, maybe I'll film them and I'll post the process on YouTube to try to get like just to feel like there was an end product that was more than 3 seconds of viewing long. So I did film the process of making my mole and the conspiracy bunker, and have continued since then. And I've started, putting things on my YouTube channel. And initially I was really nervous to talk about the story elements, because the crafting I always felt fairly confident with, but story is so vulnerable. And I don't know, if someone thinks the craft looks dumb, I really don't care. But if someone thinks my story is dumb, you're like, no, how could you? But I really thought I was gonna have to just kind of sneak the story in, like you sneak a pill into a hot dog to give to a dog. But I was really surprised that when I started sharing these, that the story is what people resonated with the most, especially with the characters and the personalities. And I saw people saying, like, when they saw this character Molten, like, oh, that's me, I relate to him. I feel that too. And that was so touching, because I felt like I had taken the worst of myself and put it into this character, and then have people say, I love that, I love him. And I feel like that has really encapsulated for me this whole project, because I wanted this to feel like a little critter, little animal utopia, not because they're all super cute and perfect and nice to each other all the time, but because they have flaws and they all love each other anyway. Yep. So thank you guys. Oh yeah, any questions?
Do you want to hold on to the mic for the...
Oh, sorry, sorry, it was dark, couldn't see. Yeah, what was your question?
How long does it take to go from conception to full build?
It can depend on how employed I am at the time. So I would say the puppets typically take me, if I'm working full time on them, can take me 2.5 weeks to do. And then the build, this one was fast because it's all pretty simple and made of trash. So this one I think took me about 2 or 2.5 weeks as well, but they can take much longer, up to 4 or 6 weeks when it's full time. Yeah. I just, for whatever reason, that's the part that feels intimidating. And it feels like it's hard, just get the setup. I like just have a million excuses of why like I have all this friction. And also I just never feel like the puppets are exactly right to animate. Like, they only have the one face. I can make a replaceable face, but that's gonna be pretty chunky. Or like the wires are like either too loose or they're too tight. Like I'm making excuses though. That's probably the big thing. Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions?
Where can we follow you on getting this?
I'm Goblin Girl Studio everywhere. Mm-hmm.
Do you hand draw those? Like you hand drew everything?
Oh yeah, hand drew everything. Yeah. Oh, so no, I was doing in Procreate, which is a drawing program on my iPad. So it's still all drawn, but it's just drawn digitally. But yeah, draw all of that. Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
Well, I think all the presenters,
It's gorgeous. So much detail put into it. It's crazy. Let's give a round of applause for all of our presenters once again. Thank you so much for coming out and presenting and giving your time and your talent to us. And talk about a couple little things just with what we have coming up here for those of you that aren't in here like every day, like a couple of you are. So we have clubs almost every day of the week. Sundays are really full and exciting here now. So if you're not doing anything on a Sunday, if you want to come in, we have our D&D club or our tabletop role-playing game club on Sundays at 4. And then at 7, we have Process Art Club. We kind of come in and process our weeks, our days, our feelings through art, which is really kind of fun. On Mondays, we have Cosplay Club. So if you're into any type of like costume building or fabric crafting, fabric art, Mondays is a really good day to come in and like co-create with people. Wednesdays is when our teen club meets a little bit earlier. So you have teens in your life, preteens and teens in your life. 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock is teen club. And then after that, we have our maker mixers. And this week is karaoke. It is different every week. So keep an eye on Instagram. And we